Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you guys are. Guys, I've had a message from MCG on my YouTube, and he said, Imran, I don't understand. Andrade had surgery and he came back after a 12-month layoff. And I thought the performance was pretty good for a guy, that had been inactive for so long and had surgery, come back, and he was pretty dominant. You know what? You sounded like, the reason why I responded to you is because I seen some of the other Andrade guys, and some of them are so delusional that I don't even, but I try to respond to everybody, and I see some people make comments and they're like, and it's disrespectful comments that I don't always respond to because they're disrespectful. When someone makes a comment like you did, I like to respond because I feel like you're genuine in your question. At this point, what I would say is some of the Andrade fans in the comment section that seem to be attacking me, is that at this point, if you think that was a good performance, then I don't know what to say. Then either you don't know anything about boxing or I don't know anything about boxing, because if that's a good performance against a guy that I've never heard of, and I've been watching boxing now religiously for over a decade, I've never heard of Jermall Nicholson. I've never heard of him. And like I said, I stayed up and watched all the card yesterday, right? I've never heard of Jermall Nicholson. I've never heard of him. So prior to that, I never heard him. The only time I heard about Jermall Nicholson is when he fought Demetrius Andrade. When he was announced to fight Demetrius Andrade. Then I looked into his record and he had been beat by Belanga and Steve Rolls and etc. But the point I'm trying to make is that if you think, and then you argue with me whether you're saying that it wasn't even a knockdown when it clearly was a knockdown. I mean, he got hit with a body shot a couple of times and he went down. I mean, some of you guys, I don't know, you have red tinted glasses on where you don't even want to accept the truth. At this point, I feel like some of you have become so delusional because you're so, and when I mean delusional, I mean some of you are so big Andrade fans that you can't even see past the truth. You can't even see past the thing is that he's declining. Let me tell you something. You guys criticized Canelo for his performance against Golovkin. That's Golovkin. Imagine comparing Jermall Nicholson to Golovkin. You guys criticized Canelo saying he couldn't stop Golovkin like Andrade would stop Golovkin. Couldn't even stop Jermall Nicholson. Jermall Nicholson, who the hell is that? I mean, you comparing him to Golovkin. Let's compare Jermall Nicholson to Golovkin. You guys criticized Canelo for that. I've never heard of Nicholson. Golovkin's an all-time great. I mean, Golovkin's going to go into the Hall of Fame. And you're saying an old Golovkin who's never been stopped in his whole life, right? Who stopped a guy, even past his best, that basically beat Jermall Nicholson. And Andrade, I mean, when I say he didn't look good, what I mean by that is that you can tell from someone's body language, from the way he's moving. At times, he was uncomfortable in there. The guy that he's fighting is not a top fighter. When you step up to the next level against Canelo, like Canelo, there's about 10 levels between Jermall Nicholson and Canelo, right? Do you not understand that the struggle, the bits that I was seeing in that ring when Andrade was fighting on television, if Canelo's in there, the distress signals on Andrade's face and his body movements, Canelo's going to take full advantage of that. Yeah, Andrade might be more switched on. But like I said to you, Andrade's career is fading and his body's fading. That was not a great performance. If you think that was a great performance against that caliber of opposition, then you're basically trying to deny the truth. And you're trying to deny what you're actually seeing. Because that wasn't a good performance. And all of the people that are saying that are Andrade fans, because I know you're Andrade fans from the comments that you leave and the criticism that you say that you put towards me. So you are fans of Andrade, really big fans. Now the difference between me is some of you say, "Oh, I'm a Canelo fan." Okay, I accept that. I've even said I think Bivol would beat Canelo. in the rematch. I've said it many times. I think Beterbiev beats Canelo. I think, you see, that's the difference. I accept reality when I see it. Some of you are having a hard time in accepting reality because you can see, like, clearly you can see that Andrade's not as good as what, you know, whether he was ever that good, we don't know 6-7 years ago because he never really fought anybody. But we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But at this point, he's clearly there for the taking. I mean, if you can't see that, then that's on you. But reality is going to hit you very quickly because he's going to fight somebody soon. He's going to get his opportunity. Now that he's got with people, he's going to get his opportunity, and reality is going to hit you very, very soon when he fights a Charlo, when he fights a Plant, because he ain't beating those guys. He ain't beating those guys. I don't see it, and I think he knows it as well. He knows it as well. Hence why he didn't fight Parker. Hence why he didn't fight there, because he knows he's there for the taking. Even on that performance, John Ryder's 5 times better than Nicholson. No problem, right? Even John Ryder would cause Andrade fits. We've seen Andrade can get through those kind of level of opposition. Not to say it's easy, but at this point, his performances for me are going in the opposite direction, not in the positive direction. If you can't see it, that's on you. There's not much I can do. You're basically trying to kid yourself if you think that was a great performance by Andrade, because it wasn't. It was a poor performance, to say the least. I mean, most people, Ray, for example, said it was. I spoke to him and he said it was poor. Most people that don't have a connection with Andrade thought that was a poor performance. Most of the people that are saying it's a good performance, how can that be a good performance when you're fighting a guy that's not? I mean, you guys criticized Canelo and said Canelo had a poor performance against Golovkin. Think about what you're saying. Think about when you make comments, what you're saying. Canelo looked poor against Golovkin, but Andrade looked good against Jermall Nicholson. You're basically openly saying that Canelo is way better than Golovkin. I mean, way better than Andrade. By the standards that you're setting for Andrade, how can that be a good performance? You tell me. A guy that went 10 rounds, a guy that was dropped. He was dropped. Whether you want to deny the truth, he was dropped. Whether the referee called it or not, the commentators were saying it was a drop. The commentators, what have they got against Boo Boo Andrade? Everyone's got something against Andrade. No, they haven't got everything. You guys are fans of Andrade and fanboys of him. There's nothing wrong with accepting that you're a fanboy. Accept it. Yeah, I'm a fan of Andrade. I'm a fanboy. I was a fanboy of Amir Khan. I'm not, what do you call it, ashamed to accept that. Be proud to accept, yes, I'm an Andrade fanboy. I want him to do well. Accept it. There's nothing wrong with you saying that you're a fanboy of Andrade. There's nothing wrong with saying that, but it's now coming to the point where some of you are making comments that you're actually becoming delusional. You're becoming delusional because you're saying things that 90% of people can't see. 90% of people thought Andrade's performance was crap. I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I know what people are saying. Are those 90% of those people wrong? Most of the people that are saying that he had performed good on my channel or any other platforms are fans of Andrade or have some kind of bias towards him. That was not a good performance. It wasn't a good, just because a guy wins all the rounds against a very poor level of opposition, very poor. Nicholson is a very poor journeyman, effectively. And this is no disrespect. I respect all fighters. He's a journeyman though. He's a journeyman. His career, I've never heard of him. Never heard of him. He's not a top tier fighter. And you could tell from his performance, he's not a top tier fighter. See, I feel like some of you guys are in denial. If you don't want to accept it, then that's up to you. I'm just giving you my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You can give your comments. And some of you aren't going to agree with what I'm saying now. But I'm telling you, few Holmes' truth. The guy's not looking good. He's not looking good. If you want to think, Michael Parsons, you said he's taking over the 168-pound division. On that performance, please explain how you think he's going to take over the 168-pound division. I mean, like Caleb Plant's better than him. Caleb Plant's more skilled than him. He's bigger than him. I mean, Andrade himself said at the end of the fight, I felt the weight. He's feeling the weight against that guy. Imagine what's he going to feel against Benavidez. Imagine what's going to feel against Plant or Canelo. Now, when I made a video saying that I think Canelo will destroy Andrade, right? Please explain to me in the comment section how Andrade beats Canelo, because I can't see it. How does he beat him? I think we'll all accept, and even if you're the biggest Andrade fan, you'll accept that he can't hurt Canelo. He can't hurt him. He couldn't hurt Demon Nicholson. He couldn't, come on. He couldn't hurt Demon Nicholson. How's he going to hurt Canelo? So you're telling me, firstly, look at Bivol, for example, right? Bivol's a more slicker fighter. Like I said to you, there's a difference between a slick fighter and a flashy fighter. Andrade's a flashy fighter, not a slick fighter. He gets hit. And one of you, Mo Sheikh, you said in the comment section that, Imran, you don't make sense because you're saying Nicholson hit him 26. Well, a fighter like Demon Nicholson hitting you 26 times, including even dropping him with body shots. I mean, that to me is getting hit a lot. And not just that, I look at body language when I see a fighter. I read body language. I see the way Andrade was reacting inside that ring. You could tell that there was points, especially that 5th round. You could tell from his body language, he wasn't always comfortable. Look who he's fighting. Styles make fights. Yes, you guys are right. Styles make fights at the top level, not at the lower level. When you're fighting an opposition, you should be beating easy. Styles don't make fights then. You should be destroying competition at that level. This isn't a knock on Andrade. This is what I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing isn't looking positive for Andrade. But I'm not the be-all and end-all. I'm giving you my opinion on what I think. I don't think Andrade at this point can be a champion at 168. And at this point, Canelo would obliterate him. Obliterate him. And this is not in any disrespect. It's just the truth. Canelo will obliterate him if they fight. Because Andrade he's on his way out. You know, and I think some of you are finding it very difficult to accept that reality. You're finding it very difficult. I mean, I don't know how you can even argue with me that that's a good performance. I mean, look who he's fighting. He should be stopping guys like that. Battering guys like that. I mean, you guys said Canelo should stop Golovkin, a guy that's, like I said, an all-time great that's never been stopped before. He's never been stopped. Golovkin's never been stopped in his whole career, amateur or pro. Never been down. Amateur or pro. But yet you have your expectation of Canelo is to stop Golovkin, but your expectation of Andrade is not to even stop Demon Nicholson. How does this guy, you tell me, how does this guy beat Canelo? When I say Canelo, how does he beat him? I mean, he gets hit. Canelo landed so many shots on Demetrius Bivol, who's way better fighter than Demetrius Andrade. I mean, it's not even up for debate. Bivol is a better fighter than Andrade. So, I mean, and Canelo landed so many shots, and Bivol is actually a slick fighter. Andrade is not a slick fighter. Bivol is a slick fighter. Andrade is a flashy fighter. You need to understand the difference between a flashy fighter. For example, Amir Khan was a flashy fighter, not a slick fighter. Andrade is cut from the same cloth. He's a flashy fighter, not a slick fighter. The only difference is that Andrade's not been in the ring with guys that would expose those weaknesses. And when he does, I think you'll understand what I mean. If this guy, Andrade's been put down in his career a couple of times already, and look at the level of opposition, and he's been hurt yesterday. For me, he was put down yesterday. The referee saved him by calling it not a knockdown. It was a knockdown. Even the commentators were saying it was a clear knockdown. I mean, what do they have against Andrade? It's a clear knockdown. See, do you not listen to the commentary? Or they probably have some kind of bias as well. They were saying it's a knockdown. It wasn't a slip. I mean, how can you call that a slip? I mean, I don't want to argue because a lot of you, I feel like, have got your red tinted glasses on, and Andrade could genuinely get caught with a shot and get put down, and you'll probably say he slipped. I mean, at this point, I don't really want to argue that point. All I'm going to say is this, that for me, if he was to fight any of the top guys at 168, it's not going to end well for him. And at this point, I picked Charlo to probably beat him. Because Charlo's fresh, young, he's an athletic guy, and he's strong. He's got a good jab. And I think at this point, Andrade's there for the taking. You know, a lot of you criticize Billy Joe Saunders, call him a bum. But yet then Billy Joe Saunders was a 2-division world champion, just like Andrade. So what differentiates Billy Joe from Demetrius Andrade? Your perception, your opinion. That's what differentiates the two. You call Billy Joe a bum, but then at the same time you say Demetrius Andrade is the truth. But what have they done in the sport? They both done the same thing. They both done the same. They're both 2 division world champions. Prior to Billy Joe fighting Canelo, and I would argue Billy Joe's resume is better. I would argue Billy Joe's resume is better than Andrade's. Yes, boxing is about resumes. When you guys say, oh no, resume. No, resume is everything. Because resume is what makes you an all-time great. Muhammad Ali, why is he an icon? Because do people respect Muhammad Ali so much? Because his resume probably is the best boxing resume in boxing. That's why Ali is respected so much. Because of the guys that he fought. That's what makes you. Because when you fight people, you're fighting people at the top. You're going to give us good fights. Andrade's not given us many good fights. Has there any fights that we're going to go back in 10 years' time and watch of Demetrius Andrade? The answer is no. Because he's never been in a memorable fight. You know, Floyd Mayweather, how many fights has he been involved in? Manny Pacquiao. I mean, these are people that we're going to remember. We'll go watch their fights in 10 years' time, 20 years' time. Andrade, no one watch. I mean, in 10 years' time, when Andrade's gone, no one even remember him. I mean, I don't know if Andrade said this, him saying he's going into the Hall of Fame. I mean, if we start putting fighters like that into the Hall of Fame, then I mean, that if he goes into the Hall of Fame, then literally every fighter that has been a world champion deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, because with that kind of resume, you're going into the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry, it's disrespecting the Hall of Fame fighters. I mean, people like Shane Mosley and guys like that did so much that went in the Hall of Fame, Mayweather and Cotto and greats like that. I mean, that's almost a disrespect. This is not hating on Andrade. I don't mind the guy. Like I want him to get a big fight. I was for years, even at times, defending him. But the point is that some of the stuff that comes out, maybe his mouth. I don't know if he said that. Maybe you guys can clarify. But someone said to me in the comment section that Andrade said that he's going into the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's crazy talk. I mean, crazy talk. The only way he would go into the Hall of Fame if he fights a Benavidez or a Charlo and beats one of them. For me, Hall of Fame fighters should be guys that firstly have achieved a lot, like got great resumes, or their impact on the sport was massive. Andrade has neither. Andrade has not been an impactful fighter where he's impacted boxing. I mean, nobody even knows him. And most importantly, I mean, his career has not been that stellar. Might be a 2-division world champion, but his resume is very poor. I mean, no one looks at Andrade and says, oh, that's our first ballot Hall of Famer right there. I mean, Carl Froch just got into the Hall of Fame. Yeah? Carl Froch, and a lot of people argue that, nah, he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, and Carl Froch has had a way better career than Demetrius Andrade. Way better. It's not even close. So, yeah, yeah. You know, I think Deontay Wilder deserves more. I think Deontay Wilder should be in the Hall of Fame more than Demetrius Andrade. I mean, Deontay Wilder's had a big impact on the sport with his knockouts, with his knockout streak, with the fact that he's been in some thrilling fights as well with Fury. I think he deserves more of being in the Hall of Fame, you know, than Demetrius Andrade. I mean, yeah, crazy talk. But look, at the end of the day, I ain't got nothing against Demetrius Andrade. I'm just telling you what I see in my opinion and some few home truths. Some of you might not like it because you like Demetrius Andrade. Fair enough. You've got a like for him. Not everybody sees him the way you see him. But that's my take on it anyway. Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'd love to know your opinion, guys. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.